Hi everyone, and welcome to Ask Christa, the place where you can ask questions about how to work through business challenges and workplace issues. I'm Christa Dhimo, and today's listener question is about team dynamics and a few issues we all experience, talk about, grapple with, and often have no idea how to manage. Wanting to change something about someone's personal style. Here's the question. I work in a team that supports sales. There are 6 of us and we support 6 territories. We are all market analysts, so with analytical minds, we have a rational style, but there's one person in our team who's so over the top that I feel drained every time I'm in a meeting with her. She's loud, dominates the discussions, and has so much enthusiasm that I feel she should be in the sales team, not the analytics team. I've been on the team for 3 years. She joined last winter. She's very personable and everyone loves her, and I can see why. But others on the team also wish she'd be less of herself sometimes. It feels hard to deal with her and hard to manage the energy, even though she's so pleasant and nice. She also gets her work done, so I feel like I can't complain. But I'm getting to a point when I feel like I can't work well near her. How can I ask my coworker to tone it down? My first advice to everyone is to always focus on your objectives. Write your grievances down so you can address those, but first and foremost, whenever you're seeking a change or an adjustment, especially when it comes to someone's behavior, focus on your objectives. You may be asking, what do our objectives have to do with a team member's annoying behavior? Okay, stay with me. I'm asking you to start with your objectives so you can be objective. Some of what I heard or read is not objective. It's personal, specific to personal styles, and more of a grievance with a dose of, I just don't like parts of who she is. For example, a listener assumes that, and I quote, with analytical minds, we have a rational style, end quote. But I refute that, absolutely. Analytical minds tend to be highly creative, able to absorb vast amounts of data and make it into information that drives decisions and offers context and wisdom or research along the way to add depth and perspective to what drives those decisions. Yes, the mechanics of analytics are for sure rational, but so much of being a successful analyst is how you relate to and what you relay to other good humans so that they can do something with your analysis. The best analysts are people. I also heard our listener write, the coworker, and I quote, has so much enthusiasm that she should be in the sales team, not the analytics team, end quote. Again, not objective. And a heavy judgment, not just on the coworker, but also on the sales team. Our listener prefaced the enthusiasm comment with reporting that the coworker is, and I quote, loud, end quote, dominates the discussion, end quotes. To our listeners' credit, they also report that the coworker is personable, and that everyone loves her, and that our listener can see why, and that the coworker gets her work done. And that leads me to believe our listener is kind, considerate, and can be objective. And it's probably just at their wits' end because of how drained they feel, as they said, after interacting with the coworker. And that's fair. It's also the name of the game when working in a team. As the saying goes, it takes all kinds. So, I go back to the beginning. What is your objective for a change so you can be objective about a change? Our listener wrote about concerns they have that they might not work well around their coworker. And if this isn't addressed, and that's an objective, then that's obviously a problem. And that's the foundation of the issue also. And I quote, it's getting to a point when I feel like I can't work well near her, end quote. That must be the focus. That is an objective. And chances are, it's not about their coworker toning it down or being the only one to make a change. The best adjustment will be an adjustment for both of them and perhaps the entire team. Now, I'm going to say a really cringy phrase that is also really true. High-functioning teams are aware and care. Oh, I know. It sounds so squishy, but it's so true. High-functioning teams aren't high-functioning because they tell people who and how they can be. You can certainly have a small functional team by doing that, but it will only take you so far, and you'll never get to a high-functioning spot. And if you're going to address the complex and very complicated aspects of interpersonal team dynamics, you might as well aim to be a high-functioning team. Otherwise, you'll have moment by moment and daily issues of mediocrity and struggling through all the complexities because you never really aimed for the higher level that you need to aim for. And of course, if you're only seeking a functional team or functioning team, that's all you're going to get. So, high-functioning teams. They first and foremost have awareness, starting with self-awareness. I know I'm a quieter type who likes to think before I talk. I know I'm a more exuberant type who talks in order to think. I know I don't like confrontation, so I may seethe behind closed doors instead of addressing my issues. I know if I don't keep my enthusiasm in check, I may unintentionally dominate the discussion. All of these statements are areas of self-awareness, and as you can see, as a first step, that could really shift the dynamics of our listener and what our listener talked about in their submission. After awareness, the team actually has to care about the functionality of the team. And if you want to get into the high-functioning space, you have to also care about how your behaviors and all that good human self-awareness I just talked about might and probably does impact others on the team. Your caring part means that you see how a few adjustments in your behavior and style and perspective could make for good changes everywhere. When all the team members think that way, imagine the magic that happens. By the way, I'm not saying you aren't who you are or to be somebody else, or that it doesn't mean you change who you are or what you believe in. What I'm saying is you make some adjustments. And they can be small, but mighty. After that, it's about agreement on an adjustment, commitment to follow through, and accountability to help each other work differently while appreciating and respecting how the adjustment changes the dynamic for the better. And then there's ongoing work, because maybe the first adjustment isn't the right one. The more open the team members can be with each other without denying their individual nature or making it into a personal rejection or harsh judgment, the less tension they'll feel. And of course, all of this should be facilitated by a trained manager or professional. And yes, I realize what I'm saying sounds great on paper or on a screen. But this is why solid management training and good management is so important. Or at least having highly qualified organizational effectiveness experts involved in your organization, even if contracted on an as-needed basis, is so important. Somewhere along the way, a lot of this became luxuries instead of imperatives. Yet, imagine if this situation were to fester and never be properly resolved. You wouldn't just lose the consistent performance of one team member, but probably three. Our listener, the other team member the listener mentions who might be getting bothered also, and eventually the coworker. Sooner or later, things will erupt and someone will try to douse her light and tone her down, and then what will you get? Not her enthusiasm, and that would be bad. Here are my final thoughts. When I first read our listener's submission, I easily saw the options available because there is clear middle ground. Additionally, there's no question that our listener is patient and considerate of their coworkers and very, very able to objectively see many strengths in their coworker. There's also no question that our listener is understandably struggling with such a difference in personality and working styles. And that needs to be addressed without telling our listener that they have to learn how to deal or telling our listener's coworker that they have to tone it down. Our listener's objective might be to feel less overwhelmed by their coworker so that our listener doesn't need to recharge or even recover every time there's a meeting. And we definitely want our listener to be in a work environment where they feel they can work their best and do their best every day. So first, raise awareness about how the coworker's exuberance and enthusiasm and dominance during meetings impacts her coworker, and perhaps more than one coworker. Given the limited information we have, my guess is when facilitated properly, the coworker will feel badly that her nature impacted her coworker or coworkers as it did. And perhaps some quick adjustments can be that she writes down her thoughts at the end of a meeting, and then everyone has a few minutes to share their insights and fresh takes on what was discussed. The person submitting the question or listener has to think about things that he or she will change also. Ways that they will be listening, ways that they will change the way that they take in the information from the exuberant coworker. Next, talk about one adjustment that could be made, the one that's the highest impact that could be ongoing. going, then consider how you'll all hold each other accountable with the understanding that this is a living adjustment, and additional tweaks and adjustments will be made as you all work more effectively together. For your resources, I've included an article from Berkman called The More Powerful Ways to Improve Your Team Dynamics. It's from March 2024, and there's a section in the article that highlights how overused strengths can create obstacles and roadblocks within a team dynamic. I think it will speak to our listener and probably a lot of you seeking ways to better understand how to work well within a team. Quick note, I'm not affiliated with Berkman or the Berkman method, but they have great insights about organizational performance. Next article, an incredible module about leading teams from the University of Minnesota. I have to say, I applaud and love universities that offer tools like this to the public. Definitely give this a review. They include a lot of additional articles and research papers too. And remember, most good business research is applied research, which means it's designed to study real-world situations so that the research is applied in and for real-world situations. I also included a foundational article that explores the basics and offers solid strategies to improve team dynamics. The article is written by Madeline Miles from June 2022. It's on the Better Up site, and the article is called 6 Winning Strategies to Improve Team Dynamics. It includes 3 real-world scenarios to emphasize different dynamics and also includes a list of what bad team dynamics look like. Last, I offer a much headier and dense article from McKinsey called Go Teams. When teams get healthier, the whole organization benefits. It's from October 2024. And while anyone could say, well, yeah, duh, of course organizations benefit when teams are healthier. We all know winning the focus and budget battle to assure teams are working effectively is a problem area for a lot of companies. If you're finding some issues getting the help and support you need at your organization, this article will give you the evidence and support you need to build a strong case. And that's a wrap for episode 44 of season 4, where we're focused on doing the work. We have just 4 more episodes to this season, then we're in season 5, where we'll be focused on questions that ask and answer about career growth. Submit your questions on my show's site, askchrista.com. That's Christa with a CH, where you'll see all of my episodes listed by category and by season. While you're there, sign up for my More Answers newsletter, where you'll receive additional content on Sunday nights to get you set up for the work week. As always, thank you for your support. And remember, if you have a business challenge or workplace issue, ask Christa.